Hello everyone, welcome to the Tristar Gym channel. Today we're going to be looking at a street fight between an untrained opponent versus a Jiu-Jitsu fighter. The Jiu-Jitsu man's on top here. You're going to see him get rolled over. The man on the bottom just simply grabbed the sweater and just rolled him over. We're going to take another look at it right now real quick. When you're a Jiu-Jitsu practitioner and you're fighting an untrained opponent and you achieve mount, you should never get rolled over. You should be able to control him for the remainder of the fight. And we're going to look at the real basic problem here. The hips are way too high off the ground, and the head is way too high off the ground. And you can see also the knee of the Jiu-Jitsu practitioner really high off the ground. Now when your knee, hips, and head are so high off the ground, it's very light for the opponent on the bottom. You don't feel heavy. So he's just simply able to just move around. He's able to get up and hip heist and grab your shirt and twist and turn and off balance you. We're going to take a quick look right now at what a mount should look like. You can see that my hips are pressing down. You want to sprawl those hips as low as possible. Spread your base as wide as possible. I know all you guys know this is very basic. I'm just going through this right now for the newbies. And we could see that a Jiu-Jitsu practitioner, even though he probably thinks he knows his basics, he forgets. Even black belts sometimes forget the most basic moves. And here we go. This is what a mount should look like. You need to hook into the legs right here. Sprawl your legs back. Drop those hips. Widen your base. And if he just did this simple few little key movements, he would have stayed on top and probably finished the fight from the top position. Now here, if that wasn't bad enough, if losing mount wasn't bad enough, let's see what our Jiu-Jitsu practitioner is opting for here. If you see this is his hand right here. See, he's going for deep half guard. His arm is right under this leg. And this is known as a strong position in sport Jiu-Jitsu, but in MMA or street fighting, you can see it's a really bad idea. You can see that the street fighter's arm right here is completely unprotected against. And he's going to be able to rain down several shots. This arm also is extremely unprotected against. And there's no guard that can protect you from strikes 100%, but the deep half guard is especially vulnerable to head strikes. I've seen this happen also in professional fights. I'm going to be putting a small frame here of Quinton Jackson and Christian Mpumbu. This is just one of many instances where I've seen a professional fighter opt for deep half guard and get knocked out or get hurt from the position. I don't know if you guys can see this, but this is Christian Mpumbu's hand right here. He's getting in the same position as our street fighter, our Jiu-Jitsu practitioner versus street fighter. You see here the same hand that the street fighter started to hit the Jiu-Jitsu practitioner with. So does Christian Mpumbu get knocked out, okay? Quinton Jackson's able to attack his head and eventually knock him out. I won't be showing the fight because it's Bellator footage, but for those of you who saw this, you know that Christian Mpumbu gets knocked out. And this was a really big mistake in my opinion. I think that Christian Mpumbu's coach is probably just a sports practitioner. He doesn't have any MMA experience. And this is something that I technically don't teach to my my purple belts. If you're doing MMA and you're brown belt and black belt, I think there's a time and place to do the deep half guard, even in a real fight, life situation. But they're far and few between. So I think it's good to know, but not essential. You need to know the essentials first before you move into these very risky positions. Okay. So we're going to take another quick look at what happens in the deep half guard situation here. Look at all these strikes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Easily 4 or 5 punches. The man on top doesn't really know how to punch. If he did, the man on the bottom would be in a lot of trouble. The Jiu-Jitsu practitioner now wisens up and gets to full guard finally. Protects himself with his legs. It makes it a lot harder for him to get punched. Now we're going to see some more sport Jiu-Jitsu here. Take a look at this right here. I can see that this guy on the bottom here, the Jiu-Jitsu practitioner, does a lot of gi because he's grabbing the sleeves of his opponent. Now when you grab the sleeves of your opponent, and the sleeves are obviously very flimsy, they're going to be very hard to hold on to. And now the man on the bottom is going to do what we call a pendulum sweep. Now this pendulum sweep, the variation he uses is very gi oriented. And you could see here that he loses. You see, the left hand now lost the gi, lost the sleeve grip. I shouldn't say gi. It's not a gi. Why? Because the shirt is too flimsy, very hard to hold on to. So there we go again. Another failed jiu-jitsu technique because he was using a sport variation. And I'm going to show a shot here of me doing the pendulum sweep, but the variation that I show is gi and no gi here. And I'm going to leave the description of this. The link to this video in the description so you guys can see the video tutorial on how to do a pendulum. I also showed how to do a pendulum to armbar because oftentimes, as you can see here in the street fight, when you do a pendulum, your opponents will base. Now, either if he's an untrained opponent or a black belt or a blue belt or a purple belt, very commonly they will base with a free arm. It's a very common response because you don't have that many options. As the guy on the top who's getting swept, you don't have that many options. So here we are. We're both in the pendulum sweep. Both our opponents based. One counter to the base I like to do is I like to flow right into an armbar. See right here, I'm going to flow right into an armbar. This is a technique that I do often and I enjoy very much. It works very well. But our jiu-jitsu practitioner misses that opportunity, or he just simply maybe wasn't fast enough to hit it. Maybe he doesn't know the move. Maybe he was a little slow. But either way, he missed that move. And now he's back to full guard, and he's eventually going to work his way to a full kimura here. And the man on top, his friends are going to interrupt the fight saying, hey, no locks, break it up. We don't want any locks. I think it's safe to say that the jiu-jitsu practitioner, even though it wasn't pretty, he won this fight because the man on top's friends had to intervene because of the eventual kimura you're about to see right here. There's the kimura. The friends intervene. They don't want the kimura hold to be finished. And it was a good little fight for the man on the bottom. But the man on the bottom, I believe, he has to go over his basics. And he has to know the difference between street jiu-jitsu and actually jiu-jitsu made for fighting. I'm a big believer in sport jiu-jitsu. I think you can log in a lot of hours of practice. That's the good part. But the bad part is you might end up developing bad habits. And we also saw that our jiu-jitsu practitioner is very dependent on the gi. And I think you should do as much no gi as you do gi. You know, I do as much gi as I do no gi. And for me, if the guy's wearing a gi or not wearing a gi, it doesn't make a difference. And I think that makes for the best jiu-jitsu. And I always recommend my students do both. So I think it's the best way to develop your game. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this little episode. Please like, share, comment, and see you on the next episode. Thank you.